Alright, so we open up with some kind of system message in space. It says it has successfully entered Earth's orbit and detected over 8 billion souls. And then it just says protocol initiated. And then bam, a massive fleet of spaceships just appears over the planet. That is not a good sign at all. We cut down to city at night. Everything looks totally normal for now. Inside a convenience store, a woman named Gian is on the phone with her mom. Her mom is asking if she has eaten. Jian tells her she is fine and still has plenty of side dishes left from last time. Just a normal mother-daughter conversation. Suddenly, the door chimes and a customer walks in. She tells her mom to hold on for a second. This kinda sketchy-looking dude with long hair walks up to the counter. He just puts a bottle of soju down. She tells him the price. He throws some crumpled bills on the counter. She watches him leave and thinks he was a bit of a weirdo. She gets back on the phone and her mom asks if it is like that over there too. Jian is confused. Her mom says there are a ton of stars outside, but Jian says you cannot really see stars in Seoul, so she steps outside the store to check it out, still thinking her mom is probably just mistaken. Whoa, the entire sky is filled with these glowing purple orbs. What is going on? They are everywhere. Her mom says something feels weird about them. We see everyone has come outside to look up at the sky. Jian is just standing there frozen. Her face is pure shock. She's not even listening to her mom on the phone anymore. Her heart is pounding. She looks up in absolute terror. She can barely get the words out, and then it happens. Purple streams of light start rising from all the people around her. We get a close-up on her eye reflecting the horrifying scene. Their souls are being taken. Jian gets blasted backwards, her phone flying out of her hand. The sketchy guy from the store gets hit too. Everyone is getting zapped by these purple lights. These beams are just raining down from the sky, piercing through cars and everything. The entire city is getting lit up like a Christmas tree from hell. And it is not just the city, it is the whole planet. Every continent is covered in these lights. The whole Earth is just glowing this ominous purple color now. Another system message pops up. Stardust dispersal complete. We see the aftermath, bodies everywhere, and another message. Protocol execution complete. It says the survival rate is less than 0.001%. We cut back to the alien ship, and this big alien dude is asking what happened to the souls. The system tells him that all the souls just vanished. He calls it an unprecedented case. Wait, so their plan failed. He orders them to deploy investigators to figure out what went wrong. A beam of light shoots down from one of the ships. A massive armored figure materializes in the light. It lands in the middle of the street, surrounded by the bodies, and it starts scanning. The scan zeroes in on one person. It is Jian. She is still alive, coughing up blood. She is lying there in a pile of bodies. The system says remaining life form detected. This absolute unit of a robot just looms over her. Its system switches to soul detection mode. It is trying to figure out what is up with her. The scan says her soul binding is unstable and she is about to die. Her body is literally glitching, and with her last breath, she just whispers for her mom. The investigator bot just raises its arm and bam, it blasts her with some kind of purple energy. And just like that, her head is gone. The system says target elimination complete, and now it is tracking where her soul goes, but wait a second. The robot looks up like something is wrong. Instead of disappearing, Jian's body starts glowing this brilliant gold. Her entire body dissolves into a beam of light and shoots straight up into the sky. The system is freaking out. It says the soul has moved, a presumed dimensional transfer. The robot looks down and spots her phone lying on the ground. It picks it up and the screen is still lit up with the call to her mom. Its faceplate glows as it scans the phone. Information collection complete, and it figures it out. The dimension her soul went to is called the afterlife. Back on the ship, some skeletal alien dude is looking at the data. He seems super interested in this whole dimensional soul transfer thing. And the big boss alien gets this evil grin on his face. He's thinking about the afterlife. Am I trippin' or this is Thanos reference? Write comment below. Suddenly we see Jian's face. She looks peaceful. She opens her eyes and is standing in a vast empty field. She has no idea where she is. A giant appears before her. She says he is Anish, a guide of souls, and welcomes her to the plains of rest. Jian just stares up at this guy in total confusion. She looks around and sees she is not alone. There are tons of other people here too. Anish tells them they have all finished their lives. She looks up and asks the big question, am I dead? The guide looks down at her with a calm expression. He says yes. She has come to the afterlife, and we see this endless procession of souls walking toward the horizon. Okay, so we cut to the afterlife, to this insane floating place called the Temple of Hekarat, and we see this dude walking up a stairway to heaven, literally towards this super bright figure at the top. The glowing figure is called the Almighty King, and the guy walking up is named Michael. Michael, who is the angel of authority, reports that all of humanity has been wiped out, and he asks the king if he ordered this. The king starts to explain things to Michael. He asks him a simple question: what created them? And Michael knows the answer. It was humans. Wait, what? The king confirms it, saying that humanity's fear of death and their collective thoughts are what literally created this entire afterlife. That is a huge lore drop, so he says destroying humanity would be like destroying himself. Why would he ever do that? Michael immediately bows and apologizes for even asking. He realizes this whole disaster came from some outside force, and he worries this is just the beginning. He looks up with this grim look on his face, and the king calls his name, telling him he has a mission for him. Meanwhile, we see these other robed figures. They are wondering where Michael is. This is Raphael, the angel of compassion. She can tell something is wrong because even Michael is shaken up. Then we have Gabriel, the angel of courage. He is basically asking who else could have done this if it was not their king. They come to the only logical conclusion: it had to be an enemy from the outside. And Uriel, the angel of wisdom, confirms it. She says she can sense a powerful presence outside of Earth. Oh, and Gabriel is not happy about that. He says whoever did this needs to be judged immediately. The king tells the other angels that before they pass judgment on the enemy, they have a more urgent task. He calls out to Michael and orders him to dispatch the Dominion angels to the living world immediately. Michael looks up with a serious expression, ready for his mission. The king explains they must find and protect the few humans who are still alive. Wait, there are survivors. Back in the afterlife, the guide is telling Gian and the other souls to be at ease. He says all their memories and emotions have disappeared. All their sadness, their anger, and their pain will exist no more. He promises that in this place only peace exists. But just as he says that, a woman's soul lets out a horrifying scream. Another soul is contorted in pain as this familiar purple energy erupts from him. A sphere of that same ominous energy appears and expands rapidly. The purple light just washes over everything. A soul cries out in terror as they begin to disintegrate. They are literally being ripped to pieces. This is a massacre. A massive explosion of power tears through the plains of the afterlife. The whole serene landscape is just getting completely wrecked, and in the aftermath a squad of warrior angels appears in the sky. One of them lands and stabs his sword into the ground, creating a glowing blue seal. Back in the temple of Hekarat, we see the angels Michael dispatched. It is a whole squad of them, the 12 Dominion angels. Their leader says that by Lord Michael's command they are going to protect the last humans. This is Zadkiel, leader of the Dominion Angels, and he looks dead serious about this mission. They stand before a massive structure called Jacob's Ladder. It is a passage connecting the afterlife to the living world, guarded by 3 giant flaming wolves. Zadkiel walks up to the fiery beasts. He orders the wolves to open the passage down to Earth. The 3 wolves let out a powerful howl, and a glowing blue portal opens up on the floor. The angels start walking into the light, preparing to descend. Zadkiel tells one of the wolves to hold down the fort until he gets back. The portal closes as the wolves watch them go. But we cut back to the alien ship and they are detecting something big. The system says it has found over 7 billion high-density souls. Wait, that is everyone. The big alien boss realizes all the souls from Earth are in this one place, and he gets that evil grin again. He orders his troops to collect them all immediately so they can take all the credit. And back in the plains of rest, a bunch of portals suddenly appear in the sky. Golden beams of light start raining down from above. We see Gian looking up in confusion as the light descends on the crowd of souls. The souls start screaming as they get pulled up into the light. Gian and the others can only watch in horror. She looks up completely terrified as the light intensifies, and we see it is the alien ship, sucking up every single soul with tractor beams. Back on the ship, the big boss is laughing, saying his own boss, Lord Azur, will be very pleased. The warrior angels look up as the souls get harvested around them. One of them lets out a desperate scream. Another angel charges forward trying to fight back. They all start throwing their spears up at the massive ship. The entire squad of angels flies up to meet the invaders. They charge in full force, a last-ditch effort to protect the afterlife, but their spears just bounce harmlessly off the ship's hull. Inside the alien ship, a system operator reports the enemy sighting. The operator says they will respond with something called shelter beams. A tactical map shows the angels being targeted. The angels below look up confused. A giant dark sphere appears above them, pulsing with that same purple energy. It explodes, vaporizing the angels in a single massive blast. The shockwave from the explosion hits a massive floating structure in the distance, and we see a group of high-ranking angels watching in horror as their home is attacked. Back in the temple, Raphael suddenly clutches her chest in pain. Uriel turns to her and asks what is going on. She says all of her children, the souls she guides, have just vanished from the plains of rest. The other angels are completely stunned. They ask how that is even possible. Uriel realizes this is what the king meant. The danger was not just for the living world, but for the afterlife too. Just then the king calls out for the twin angels who guard the afterlife. Zaphiel and Samchiel appear before him ready for their orders. He tells them that the plains of rest have been invaded. His command is simple: lead their forces and annihilate every single invader. Meanwhile, we see Gian get thrown to the ground by the force of the blast. She slides across the dirt, completely knocked out. She slowly starts to come to her senses. She sits up in the middle of all the chaos and destruction. Her eyes are wide with absolute terror. She looks up at the massive alien ship looming over them, but then a whole army of angels descends from the sky to join the fight. On the alien ship, the system reports another wave of enemies and says the soul collection is now inoperable. The boss man, Lord Quirrell, just orders his crew to wipe them all out. The ship unleashes another massive barrage of those purple energy beams, but an operator looks up in shock. He tells the boss the attack is not working. The twin angel Zaphiel leads his army in a full-scale charge against the alien ship, but up on the bridge, Lord Quirrell just orders his crew to switch to concentrated fire. and we see one of the ship's main cannons begin to power up. The angels fly forward with grim determination on their faces. Zafil barrels through the air ready for a fight, but a massive purple beam suddenly shoots down from the sky. It completely engulfs one of the angels as Zafil looks on in shock. He immediately shouts a new order telling them to get out of range and attack from below. An angel follows his command, flying under the ship and hurling a massive rock, but he stops and looks up with a terrified expression. The entire underside of the ship is covered in weapon turrets and they are all lighting up. A hailstorm of smaller energy blasts rains down on the angel army. One angel gets hit by dozens of shots and is completely overwhelmed. Zafil grits his teeth in anger watching his forces get torn apart. He sees a huge energy ball heading for a group of his soldiers, so he flies in front of it himself using his own body as a shield. The blast explodes against him and he grunts from the impact. The alien boss sees this and just tells his gunner to increase the beam output. The weapon on the ship glows with an even more terrifying power, and a much larger beam slams right into Zafil, who is still trying to recover. Zafil is just screaming as this massive beam completely engulfs him. The blast of purple energy is absolutely relentless. But up on the ship, the operator is confused. He asks what happened to the beam because it is not hitting Zafil. It is being sucked into a glowing orb, and it is the other twin angel Samchel holding it. She absorbed the entire attack. The alien crew realizes her weapon just ate their super laser. Zafil asks his sister if she is ready, and she says she is more than ready. She lets out a battle cry as her wings flare with power, and she fires all of that stored energy right back where it came from. The alien boss Quirrell just stares in disbelief. A massive explosion rips through the side of the alien ship. A huge piece of the hull breaks off and starts plummeting to the ground. It crashes into the planes below in a fiery explosion. Zafil and the other angels watch the destruction unfold, but then a thin pillar of blue light descends from the sky. The light expands into a massive column of pure energy, and we see a new guy with a mask looking down, saying it is breaking apart. The beam slams into the ground, shattering the very air around it. A bolt of lightning strikes down from a suddenly dark sky, and standing in the middle of it all is a man in a white suit and a cross mask, just crackling with power. And while all that chaos is going down in the afterlife, we cut back to Earth, specifically Kaohsiung, Taiwan. We see this new guy with blonde hair and a mask kneeling down to pray for the dead. He seems to be paying his respects to the victims of the invasion, but then he suddenly looks up like he senses something coming. And yeah, one of those alien mechs stomps into view, its core glowing with purple energy. The machine towers over him as he gets to his feet. A beam of light shoots down from the sky right where he is standing. But he is way too fast. He zips out of the way just in time, and the spot he was just on erupts in a massive explosion. He points up asking what on earth that thing is, and we see it is another one of those massive alien ships just hovering over the city. He turns around just in time to see it coming. The alien mech throws a massive punch right at his face. It connects hard and sends him flying backwards. He hits the ground with a grunt, but then a bunch of shadowy figures with glowing purple eyes appear behind him. They all swarm the mech at once, tearing it apart. A glowing blue eye flashes in the middle of the chaos, and then we cut to Seoul, Korea, where the same blonde guy is kneeling on the street. Wait a second. He says one of his clones was just wiped out, so that was not even him. He gets up and looks towards a nearby building. He sees a shadow moving in a window. He thinks he might have found a survivor, so he quickly rushes towards the building. But of course it is a trap. Another mech drops down in front of him. A sharp blade shoots out from its arm right at his head. He dodges under it with a clean backflip. The mech lands heavily on the ground, and in its hand it is holding the destroyed body of another smaller robot. Our boy lands gracefully ready for a fight. He points at the mech's core and a purple energy starts to gather. He stares down the mech, his hand glowing with some kind of dark energy. He then dives straight down towards the ground and shoves his hand into what looks like a portal made of shadows. He reaches right through it and then just yanks the entire mech into the shadow dimension with him. The mech's core immediately starts to overload inside this dark space. Its entire body just shatters into pieces, and the whole thing erupts in a massive explosion. Our boy stands up completely unfazed by the blast, but then he suddenly turns his head, sensing something behind him. Of course, two more mechs just appeared out of nowhere. He is totally shocked, realizing he is not done yet, and before he can move, one of them fires a beam right at him. The laser goes straight through his chest and shoots out into the city. The other mech powers up its weapon as well. They both start firing on him at the same time. The beams are just tearing his body to shreds. He is thrown back by the sheer force of the attack. The two mechs just relentlessly keep firing, and he is completely swallowed by a huge explosion of purple energy. But wait a second, the camera pans out. The beam is not even hitting him. It is hitting the other mech. What? He grabbed one of the mechs and is using it as a human shield, or a robot shield, I guess. The poor thing is just getting shredded by its own teammate's laser, and our boy's eyes just flare with this bright blue light. He drops into the shadows again, and in a flash he is behind the other one and just slices right through it. Both mechs explode at the exact same time. That was clean. He catches his breath and says that was way too close. He explains that if he did not have his clone's memories of the attack, he would have been toast. He clenches his hand and the dark energy dissipates. His hand returns to normal. He dusts himself off like it was nothing. Then he reaches into his coat and pulls out this little golden orb. He calls it the Eye of Sephiroth and tells it to find the soul of any survivor. The eye on the device glows with a brilliant light. It gives him a vision of the entire city. It starts zooming in through the ruined streets, and it focuses on what looks like a hospital. And there it is. A single tiny spark of light in the darkness. He found someone. His eyes go wide as he says he found them. He immediately swan dives off the building, saying he has to get there first, and we cut to inside the hospital, and it is an absolute massacre. A woman is lying unconscious on one of the beds. The heart monitor flatlines, but then it suddenly starts up again, and the woman on the bed slowly opens her eyes. She sits up looking completely disoriented. She pulls the oxygen mask from her face, and she slowly gets off the operating table. She looks around confused, asking where she is, then her eyes widen in shock. She sees the bodies of the doctors and lets out a gasp. She looks down and sees the IV was just ripped out of her arm. She stumbles backwards in absolute terror, and she falls to the floor and just screams. She is just staring at the dead staff, completely horrified. She scrambles back against the wall. She looks out into the hallway and sees it is just littered with bodies. She runs through the lobby calling out for help, asking if anyone is there, and then she spots a sign for an exit, a glimmer of hope. She steels herself thinking she just needs to get out. She makes a break for it, but she is so weak she trips and falls. She can barely even push herself up off the floor, but then she hears a sound and looks up. And of course, another one of those alien mechs is standing right over her. Its system immediately detects her as a survivor. The machine looms over her ready to commence capture. She is completely frozen in fear, unable to even move. But then a random bottle of soju just flies through the air. It smacks the robot right on its head with a loud clank. The mech turns around confused, and we see a new guy standing there. He points to his chest asking if the mech is the one that tore his clothes. My man has his priorities straight. He tells it to answer him by the count of 3 and starts with 1. The mech's internal scanner goes off detecting a high-density soul. It immediately changes its target to him. Our new guy just glares at it and continues his countdown. 2. The mech ignores him and powers up its arm blade ready to strike. But he is already moving. The ground cracks under his feet. He launches himself forward, shattering the floor. He yells out the final number, 3, and he slams his fist right into the mech's body. The punch connects with a massive impact, sending steam everywhere. The mech is completely stunned as he just grabs its entire head, and then he just rips the whole thing clean off its body. He reaches into the mech's neck and pulls out a glowing chain. He grips it tight as the chain just pulses with energy, and then some kind of shadow creature erupts from it and just tears the mech apart. He complains that the mech pulled out something nasty instead of answering his question, but then he hears a quiet voice call out to him. He turns and sees the woman from the hospital peeking out from behind cover. She looks at him with desperate, pleading eyes. She falls to her knees and begs him to help her. He just stares down at her for a second, completely silent, and then he just says, "Screw that. Whoa, what a hero." The woman he found looks up at him completely confused. He says he is only here to deal with the monster. He tells her straight up that he did not come to save her. She gets up and yells at him. She asks who even asked him for help anyway. Then she asks if she can just borrow his phone to make a call. He thinks about it for a second, and then just grabs her hand and starts dragging her down the street. He takes her to a nearby convenience store. She asks why they are here, and he says he does not have a phone, but she can use the one inside. She looks back at him, and he tells her to bring him some booze as payment for his help. She calls him a psycho and walks inside. She finds the store's phone and starts dialing a number. She waits nervously as the phone rings. She begs for someone she calls Sister Superior to please pick up. Meanwhile, outside, our guy is examining the bodies of the thugs he killed. He notices they all have a hole right through their chests. He realizes this must have been the work of the aliens, but he looks up wondering why they would be here. But as he is thinking about the aliens, he notices something flying through the sky, and a new guy with glowing eyes and a mask lands right in front of him. He immediately lunges forward to attack. Our guy gets ready for a fight, asking if he is one of them too. The new guy attacks with some kind of claws, but our hero blocks it with his own power. The attacker is shocked that he could block it and says he is not normal. Our guy just gives him this super creepy smile, and he asks him what he is while wrapping his hands in these glowing chains. The masked dude recognizes the chains and is completely freaking out. Our guy whips the chains forward in a powerful attack. He has this wild look on his face, just enjoying the fight. The masked man manages to block the attack with his claws, but our guy is on him in an instant, way too fast. The blonde dude tries to jump away, but he is relentless. He leaps up and throws a punch with his chain-wrapped fist. The chain slams down into the street with incredible force, and it connects, sending the masked man flying into the pavement. He just stands over him, holding him by the hair. He asks if he is an angel, and the guy just glares back. Then our guy just turns and starts to walk away like it is nothing. The girl walks back out of the store holding a bottle and says she got the booze, but no one answered the phone. But then she starts to get super dizzy and her vision blurs. She collapses and drops the bottle, and our guy just screams about his booze. A moment later, her eyes snap open as a voice asks if she is conscious. And it is the masked dude. Wait a minute, did he not just get his face smashed in? He tells her not to worry. He explains that she just fainted and he restored her energy. And she realizes it is true. She feels totally fine now, even lighter than before. She looks up at him and asks who he is. He just tells her that it is a long story and she probably would not believe him anyway, but he says that she has to trust him. And then we cut to a whole different place, a desert landscape. A crowd of people are just staring up at a woman floating in the sky. This woman looks down at them and says the invasion has made them afraid. She then transforms into this radiant angel promising to grant them rest. She gathers a ball of pure golden light in her hands, and a massive magic circle fills the sky above the crowd. One of the women in the crowd looks up, and a halo of light appears right over her head. Oh, this must be the survivor our guy was looking for with the eye. Back in the afterlife, an angel is giving orders to move the injured, saying someone needs to get back to the fight. Another angel looks on and says the name Uriel. Uriel explains that two other angels named Zaphil and Samshil were on the front lines. He says that while reflecting an attack, Samshil was badly wounded. We see his leg literally disintegrating with some kind of dark energy. Another angel swoops in to help them get to safety. Uriel orders them to take him to the River of Restoration immediately. Meanwhile, two other high-ranking angels are watching the battle from afar. The big guy is furious, saying he never thought anyone would be bold enough to break through their walls. He knows this is just the beginning and that the enemy will be back with more troops. The blonde one gives his orders, reinforce the barrier and move the souls to the Valley of Salvation. The big guy then asks what they should do with these ones, and we see a group of captured enemies, these huge gray-skinned brutes. The leader says to keep them there, so they can learn more about who they are fighting. He then turns to look at the massive damage done to their city. He lets out a heavy sigh. He just cannot believe this level of destruction has come to their once peaceful home, but then his expression changes, and he says it is time to wake someone up, Anaphil, and we get another look at the guy in that insane black armor from before. Then we cut to a whole new location, Egypt. A massive alien ship is hovering right over the Sphinx, and two aliens are talking about Stardust and Soul Collection. But the bigger one just looks at his partner and tells him he is wrong. He says the best part is that it lets them quietly enjoy this planet's civilization. He looks down at the Sphinx, calling their structures beautiful. But then his subordinate reports that they have traced the Soul's dimensional transfer route, but there is an issue. The big guy turns around and asks what the issue is, and his subordinate says one of the fleets just jumped dimensions without any authorization. Meanwhile, back in the desert, the other angel tells Raphael he used too much power, but he is not listening. He says they have to purify the souls as quickly as possible. She agrees to share her strength with him, but then they both hear something. She looks up into the sky, completely confused by what she is feeling, and a massive portal opens up with some kind of alien structure floating right through it. It is the alien commander. He is looking out at this new world in total awe. He gets this huge creepy smile on his face, calling the place beautiful, and we see his ship just hovering there in the sky of this strange new dimension. The alien structure slowly emerges from the portal. The commander looks out from his ship in complete wonder. He says this place is truly beautiful with this huge creepy smile, and his ship is now fully inside this new dimension. Down below, the female angel asks why they have come back again. Raphael looks up in frustration, saying the souls had just started to find peace. But then another angel appears. It is Lord Michael, and he tells them to continue their work. He looks up at the alien ship and says to leave this to him. He spreads his wings and flies straight towards the invaders. The alien commander sees him approaching and tells him to stop right there. Michael just hovers in front of the massive ship, telling them there is no land here for them. The commander asks if he is the master of this place, and Michael replies that he is its guardian. He then demands to know why they have invaded this realm. The two of them just stare each other down in a tense silence. The commander takes a step forward. And then he gets down on one knee. What? He says one of his subordinates launched an attack on his own and he is here to offer a formal apology. Michael just looks at him, processing this completely unexpected turn of events. He tells the commander they should go somewhere else to talk. He then turns and tells the alien to follow him. So Michael leads him to this place called the Hall of Light, and it looks like the alien commander brought a couple of his goons with him. Inside, Michael tells him it was brave to return unarmed. The commander says he was sure they were intelligent enough to have a conversation. He seems to be trying to come to some kind of peaceful agreement here. But Michael cuts him off, telling him he is not getting his ships or his soldiers back. The commander just scoffs and says they can do whatever they want with that idiot. He then says he has come to make an offer, and Michael looks intrigued. Okay, so here is the deal. The alien explains that his race survives by converting the souls of living beings into energy. Michael just glares at him, clearly not liking the sound of the word harvest. The commander continues saying the souls in this realm are of incredible quality and he wants to make a deal for them. And we cut back to the surface, back to our crew standing in the street. The girl is just trying to process everything, aliens, angels, it is a lot to take in. The masked dude says he understands it sounds strange, but she cuts him off. She says for some reason she actually believes him, and he explains it is because she absorbed his energy. Apparently humans who receive an angel's energy are bound to believe their words, while our guy just chugs his booze in the background. The girl turns her attention from the angel, and she looks right at our guy asking him what he really is. She says after seeing him fight, she knows he is not just some ordinary human. The masked angel steps in, about to explain who he is. He reveals that our guy is an angel named Azazel. Azazel then looks down at the girl and asks for her name. She tells him her name is Kim Rhea, still processing that he is an angel too. He grabs her by the shoulder and says her name, and then he tells her to go get him some more alcohol. Bro, what? She just stares at him completely shocked. She can barely even say the word what. She completely blows up at him. But the masked angel explains that Azazel is a fallen angel. Apparently exiled angels get punished if they take or even pick up other people's things. So that is why he needed her to buy the booze. Azazel gives him a dirty look for spilling his secrets, and the angel just apologizes. The girl then turns to the masked angel calling him Zadkiel. She asks him to take her to someone called the Mother Superior, but he immediately tells her that is impossible. He says the surface is way too dangerous and she needs to get to safety. She begs him, saying she just wants to check if this person is still alive. She is clearly distraught, but then Azazel suddenly grabs her and pulls her in. He asks her where the Mother Superior is, and she stammers out a location. Zadkiel is totally freaking out asking what he is doing. Azazel just tells the girl to hold on tight. And just like that, he leaps into the air carrying her with him. Zadkiel just watches as they bounce off buildings and disappear into the night. He falls to his knees completely drained from sharing his energy. He has no idea what Azazel is planning to do. Meanwhile, back in the Hall of Light, Michael is not impressed with the alien's offer. The commander insists he is only making the offer out of respect for them, but Michael changes the subject, reminding him he asked who the angel's master was. The alien commander is completely confused by the question, and Michael gives him the answer. Their master is humanity. He explains that angels were originally born from humans, and human souls are the source of their existence. Which is why he will never, ever trade them away. The deal is off. The commander just scoffs, saying he expected more from them. He starts to say they will regret this, but one of his own guards suddenly gets blasted from behind. The commander looks back completely confused by what just happened, and we see Michael with his hand out as the alien's body just disintegrates. He tells the remaining alien to deliver a message to his master. He says if they want a war, the angels are ready to fight. Just then the big guy angel walks in and sees the aftermath. He says he cannot see the aliens' souls, which should not be possible. Michael just calmly explains that these guys are nothing but puppets. Meanwhile, back on Earth, the main alien fleet is still hovering over the pyramids, and suddenly this big alien guy just starts convulsing in his chair. His crew rushes over asking if their leader Lord Agmal is alright. One of them jacks a cable right into his chest, and he just scoffs, saying it is amusing that someone would dare fight the Uncrars. He tells his subordinate to connect him to the entire fleet. He then gives a command to every single Uncrar's vessel. He orders them all to move to the dimensional coordinates he is sending. His final order is to collect every soul in that dimension, and then completely erase the planet. So we cut to what looks like the alien homeworld, where a dude named Lord Crowdies is staring out into space. And this guy looks like a straight-up skeletal overlord, very menacing. His subordinate comes in with a report, a message from Commander Agmal requesting a high-grade deployment. But the big boss here has other priorities. He asks if the Earthling sample has arrived yet. The subordinate says it just did, as a teleportation circle glows on the floor, and there he is, some poor human guy trapped inside a containment pod. Crowdies seems intrigued by this. The guy inside is obviously panicking, banging on the glass for his life. The alien lord just looks down on him, calling him a frail life form, and then he gives the order to extract his soul. His soldier immediately gets to work. The machine powers up and the guy inside looks absolutely terrified. He just starts screaming in pure agony. And his body is just completely destroyed inside the tube, while another alien watches impassively. The extraction machine does its work, and when it is over, all that is left is a bloody stain on the glass. A notification confirms the extraction is complete, as a glowing blue orb floats out. Lord Crowdies looks at the freshly harvested soul. He is actually impressed, confirming it is a top-class soul, and he cannot believe such a pathetic body held so much energy. He turns to his subordinate and tells him to contact Agmal. He says to tell him they are sending their finest battleship. Oh, that is not good at all, and we cut back to Earth, where Azazel is still carrying Rhea across the rooftops, and she is screaming at him to let her go. And yet, she is not handling the super-speed rooftop travel very well at all. Azazel just looks back at her completely baffled. He lands them both safely on the ground, but Rhea is looking a little green around the gills. She runs over to a tree, and Azazel just asks how she could possibly get motion sick from that. She tells him it is her first time flying through the air and asks if they have to travel like that the whole way. He says he was thinking about that too because she is starting to get heavy, and she immediately gets pissed off at him. He then just asks her if she can drive. Next thing you know, he is pulling some random dude out of his car. He shoves the unconscious guy aside and tells her to get in. Rhea just puts her hands together in a prayer. She apologizes to the guy for borrowing his car, and she wishes him a peaceful rest. Wait, does she think he is dead? Azazel asks why she is talking to a corpse, and she just screams at him to shut up. She gets into the driver's seat looking determined, but Azazel is just standing there asking why she is not getting in. He explains he cannot get in unless she allows him to, so she begrudgingly tells him to get in already. They peel out onto the street arguing about who started being rude first, and soon enough they pull up to what looks like a church. Rhea slowly pushes a door open, calling out for someone. Her eyes are filled with tears as she looks into the dark room. And she calls out for the Mother Superior who is sitting in front of a large window. Then we get a flashback to when she was just a little kid, looking so malnourished and alone. A kind-looking nun introduces herself as Maria, saying their names are similar. Little Rhea just stares back with these empty eyes, and we learn her backstory. Her father was a gambling addict who just abandoned her. She was left all alone in the house until the neighbors got worried and went to check on her. They found her collapsed from starvation, nearly dead. Man, that is rough. The police tell the nun that they are looking for her dad, but they admit it is probably a lost cause, and little Rhea just clutches her teddy bear. So the nun finds her sitting all alone on a bench and asks if she can join her. The nun sits down and the little girl just scoots away from her. Rhea then randomly comments that the sister must be good at sewing, and the nun smiles, offering to fix her old teddy bear for her. We see her carefully stitching the bear back together. She tells the little girl it was lucky she had some extra stuffing from a pillow. Rhea then quietly says her dad told her she was bad luck. He said she was born unlucky and anyone who stays with her will become unhappy too. Oh my god, she looks at the nun, basically warning her to stay away. But the nun just finishes her work and hands the fixed teddy bear back to her. The nun says the teddy bear is lucky to have such a good owner. She gently holds Rhea's face, telling her it was thanks to her the bear got fixed, and little Rhea just breaks down crying from the kindness. The nun tells her there is no such thing as a person who makes others unhappy, and we snap back to the present as the Mother Superior says they are all perfect children of God, but she is dead, slumped over Rhea with a giant hole through her chest. Azazel just stands in the doorway watching as Rhea sobs over the body. Later outside, a shovel slams into the dirt. Rhea is digging a grave and Azazel asks why she does not just burn the body. She tells him to be quiet and that she is not asking for his help, just bringing her here was enough. And he complains he has not even been paid for that yet. But then his eyes go wide, as a massive purple explosion erupts right near them. A voice says the report was true as some alien tech powers up. The alien says he could not believe an investigator was killed. Through the smoke we see Azazel protecting Rhea, as the alien says Earth weapons should not be able to kill an Uncrars. And there he is, some big new alien guy floating there, saying he understands now. He looks down on them saying this could be fun to play with, and he gives the simple order to capture them. Azazel holds Rhea close asking what this lizard-looking dude is. Rhea is just too stunned to even speak. She just screams looking back at the Mother Superior's body, and the alien commander just repeats his order to capture them. Immediately his robot goons start to move in, but Azazel is faster. He grabs Rhea and leaps away just as they fire. But Rhea is just fighting him, screaming that she wants to kill them. The robots are hot on their tail though. Azazel just clicks his tongue in annoyance. One of them swings a massive blade right at them, and he just catches it with his bare hand. What? He uses the momentum to launch them towards a nearby building, but more of them are showing up, chasing them through the city. The commander watches from below, trying to figure out how strong Azazel is. They land hard on another rooftop, and it looks like Rhea has just passed out from the shock. Azazel just sighs, thinking this might actually be easier, but he spoke too soon as a huge bot lands right in front of him, and then out of nowhere some dude in a white suit just dive kicks the robot. The robot crashes to the ground, completely wrecked. Azazel looks over his shoulder and calls the guy Zadkiel, saying he has good timing. But Zadkiel just screams at him asking what he is doing, and then he just tosses Rhea into the air. Dude, what? Azazel catches her as Zadkiel tells him to get her to safety, but Azazel is confused. Zadkiel clarifies he has something to collect from the dead nun, not Rhea. Azazel just stares at him. Zadkiel then whips out a chain and just obliterates one of the robots. He yells at Azazel to stop dawdling and get out of there, and he just starts tearing through the rest of the robots with his chain weapon. But Azazel's escape is cut short as the alien commander lands in front of him, saying he cannot let that happen. The commander fires a blast of energy from his hand. It hits Azazel dead on, and he gets slammed right into the rooftop. He is sent flying off the building, still holding onto Rhea, but then some huge new guy shows up, looking annoyed. He catches Zadkiel, who is also sent flying, and Zadkiel calls him the one with the big head. The big guy just chucks Zadkiel back into the fight. Zadkiel seems impressed, saying it was not bad for a mid-ranker. He pulls out two pistols and aims them right at the alien commander. And somewhere else a woman is watching all of this through a high-tech scope. The alien commander does not even hesitate, firing a massive energy blast. It slams right into Zadkiel, sending him flying back. He curses as he tries to stop himself. The commander dives down after him. Zadkiel is just tumbling through the air, completely overpowered. He gets blasted clean across the city skyline. and he crashes right through the side of a building. He lays there in the dust and rubble, looking completely defeated. The alien commander floats down into the crater he made. He notes that Zadkiel has a pretty powerful weapon, but he laughs, saying it is a shame his body is not durable enough to handle it. Zadkiel asks if he can ask one thing before he dies. He wants to know why they came to Earth, asking if they just have some sick hobby of slaughtering weaker life forms. The commander's answer is simple: souls. He explains that souls are a resource for their race and that human souls are basically top-grade fuel. Wait, what? They are harvesting people. Zadkiel just smiles, saying he is glad he asked before dying, but the commander says he is not going to kill him. He will use him as a test subject instead, as he powers up his arm cannon. And Zadkiel's entire demeanor shifts. He gets this crazy look in his eyes and says no. The commander is the one who is going to die, in a blur of motion. He lashes out with his chain weapon. The chain smashes right through the commander's head, and his entire head just explodes in a spray of purple goo. Zadkiel just stands there and his first thought is that his clothes are ruined. His chain whips back towards him. He actually looks a little confused, saying that was not the attack he intended. He says his chain just hates being separated from him. Then he just walks off, saying he is craving alcohol and wondering where Azazel ran off to. And we cut to a totally different scene. A woman in gold armor says to awaken her Anush. We see a massive crowd of people standing around a crater. They all look completely empty. They are all just staring up at these glowing orbs in the sky. A giant ball of light appears in front of them. A girl with purple-tipped hair just stares up at it. Inside the light, we see a man with a blindfold marked with a cross. He emerges from the light and floats above the crowd. The woman in armor gives an order to gather all the souls and take them to the Valley of Salvation. The blindfolded man glows brightly over the crowd below. The girl looks up with a peaceful smile as a beautiful light envelops them. Her hand is taken as she is lifted up into the sky. The entire crowd of souls is being drawn up into this massive column of light. The woman in armor is walking with a huge dude in a white coat. Someone calls her Lord Michael. The big guy reports that all the troops are ready for battle and the souls have been safely evacuated. The big guy agrees and says it is time to go. He turns to face his forces. And up in the sky we see flying whales. Someone calls them angels. A commander rallies the troops, saying today they fight for God. He gives a whole speech about their wings being swords and their light being the flame of creation. The whole army just stands there listening, looking ready for a fight. The commander screams at them not to be afraid. Another leader with glowing eyes says they will be victorious and protect the afterlife. And then something starts happening in the sky. A massive swirling portal opens up above them. The big guy just looks up and says they are here. And a giant dark spaceship emerges from the portal. This does not look good at all. And just as that massive ship appears, we cut away to some dude meditating in a white void. He calls someone named Anaphiel. Then a woman shows up and asks him what is wrong, calling him Master Uriel. She says she did not want to disturb his repentance in this sacred place, but she has to because the afterlife is in danger. She asks him to lend her his power, but he says he is still weighed down by the punishment he gave to Azazel. She tells him she understands how he feels, but she warns him if the afterlife falls to this new enemy, his place of atonement will be gone forever. She says she will not force him though, the choice is his. He just looks over his shoulder, and he has this look of grim determination on his face. Then we cut back to the battlefield as that portal starts to open. The big guy in the puffy coat just looks up and says they have arrived. He asks one of the commanders if it was really a good idea to just leave the rift open. The commander says they could not have predicted the scale of this invasion anyway. He explains their plan is to draw the enemy in and hit them with everything they have to minimize casualties. And right on cue, that massive dark ship emerges from the portal. The commander just screams out to his angels. He yells that the time for judgment has come as the flying whales charge forward. One of the whales just slams headfirst into an enemy ship, but the enemy ship fires back with a massive laser, and the whale goes down hard. The main ship reveals its own arsenal. All of its cannons start to power up. It unleashes a devastating beam right into the angel army. The commander watches as his troops get vaporized. He screams at them to fire back. His archers let loose a volley of light arrows, but it is like a fireworks show against the ship's hull. The commander with the glowing eyes starts charging up an attack. He launches it forward. It spirals through the air. The energy condenses into a powerful beam. It slams right into one of the smaller ships. And that one goes down in flames, but the mothership opens its hangar. An absolute swarm of smaller fighters pours out. They immediately start firing on the angels. The commander just looks on in disbelief, but then another angel steps up, looking ready to throw down. This new angel throws his hands up to defend, and a magic circle appears reflecting the lasers right back. The archer commander yells at her troops to fire again, but the enemy fighters are just shredding the flying whales. Then another guy shows up looking like a straight-up brawler. His eyes and his fist are glowing with this intense blue energy, and he just punches an enemy ship clean out of the sky. Meanwhile, another commander begins chanting an incantation. A massive vortex of dark energy swirls around him. It erupts upwards, causing huge explosions on the mothership. and he uses the chaos to fly right inside the enemy vessel. The aliens inside are scrambling, ordering their defenses online, but he is just a blur as he zips down the corridor. He lands in a room full of soldiers who immediately open fire. He just calmly raises his hand, and every single soldier in the room just explodes. He grabs the last survivor by the throat, and he tells the alien to take him to its leader. Then we cut away to a bunch of souls flying over a forest. The blindfolded man from before is leading them to the Valley of Salvation. But as he leads them, he suddenly hears something. The blindfolded man looks up, sensing something approaching fast. A strange metallic pod is rocketing down from the sky. It splits open mid-air and starts gathering a ton of energy, and then it unleashes a massive purple beam right at them. The beam slams into the ground with incredible force. The blindfolded man is caught in the blast, trying to hold it back, but then another angel appears, commanding his own power to destroy it. The two attacks collide in a huge fiery explosion. The angel who intervened is now falling. He is called Lord Raphael. And that is when Lord Michael realizes the horrible truth. The dimensional transfer gate is right here with the souls. Back on the enemy ship, the commander is interrogating the alien. The alien reveals there is no leader here because they already broke through somewhere else. The commander stands there frozen. He realizes this entire battle was just a diversion, and we cut back to the valley as a massive energy source powers up. A giant enemy structure has materialized right above the evacuating souls. It is pouring a devastating amount of energy down on them. This was their real target all along. The giant structure unleashes a devastating purple beam right into the valley. It just tears through the ground with raw power. The explosion is massive, sending the souls flying everywhere. The little girl from before is on the ground looking up in shock. She is completely terrified by what is happening. All she and the other souls can do is scream in horror. And now we see who is in charge. Some big alien guy sitting on his throne. He is just thinking about how absorbing these souls will make him as powerful as a lord. But his evil monologue gets cut short, because the angel commander from before comes crashing right through his sailing. He slams his attack right into the ship's controls, and the massive energy beam outside just explodes and fizzles out. The little girl looks back confused. The attack stopped. The commander stands in the crater he just made ready for round 2, but back on the ground. A different armored hand clenches into a fist. And there he is. Anaphael has arrived, calling himself the Angel of Steel. He stands before the terrified souls and promises that he will protect them. His armor fully forms around him. He stands alone against the entire enemy fleet. Meanwhile, on the alien mothership, the commander gets a report that they lost a ship. But he is not worried at all, telling his men to ignore the one angel and keep harvesting souls. The ships unleash a massive barrage of energy blasts down on the valley. Anaphael just looks up unfazed. The power's up energy, and he just stands there as the attack rains down on him. A huge explosion erupts where he was standing, but through the smoke he just raises his hand and catches something. Oh my god. He has caught all the ships with chains. The chains dig deep into the hulls of the enemy vessels, and he is literally pulling the entire fleet down from the sky. He looks up and tells them that none of them are going anywhere. The alien commander is completely losing it, screaming at his troops to take him down. All the ships power up their main cannons to fire at once, but Anaphael just throws his spear, and the spear transforms into a massive storm of chains. The chains wrap around all the cannons just as they are about to fire, and the energy backfires, causing a massive chain reaction explosion. The alien commander just watches the explosions light up his screen. He gets the report that all of the harvester ships have been destroyed, and he gives a single order: kill him. He screams that he does not care what it takes. They need to erase that angel. So a whole new wave of fighters takes off, and they all start firing down on the valley. But Anaphael is just dodging through the laser fire like it is a light show. He whips out a chain and snags one of the ships. Then he uses that ship to snag a whole bunch of others, and he starts swinging them around like a freaking flail. He smashes the captured ships into the rest of the fleet, causing a massive cascade of explosions in the sky. Anaphael lets out a grunt from the effort. He lands back on the ground with a heavy thud, but then a giant chain comes crashing down from above. It slams right into the alien mothership. The impact tears right through the bridge. The alien commander is on the floor in shock. He cannot believe his fleet is struggling this much. He realizes they have to find Anaphael's weakness. He looks up with a determined glow in his eye. But back on the mothership, the angel commander is talking to himself. He says he would never bargain with his master's soul, and the alien leader just gets this huge evil smile. He says that is it. He immediately orders his forces to change their target. And they fire a massive laser, but not at Anaphael. They are aiming right at the angel commander. The beam tears through the sky, heading straight for the mothership. Down on the ground, the little girl and the other souls just look up. The angel commander is caught right in the blast's path. He tries to throw up a defense to block it, but the attack just smashes right through. Anaphael sees this from the ground and yells for him to get out of the way. The little girl watches with a worried look on her face. The souls can only stare in horror as the beam gets closer. Anaphael screams in rage. and the beam slams right into the Angel commander in a huge explosion. A single enemy ship flies away from the blast. Anafil is just glowing with fury. Then another beam of light comes down from the sky, and a whole new fleet of enemy ships emerges from the clouds. We see the Angel commander lying in a crater, completely wrecked. He has a massive hole blown right through his torso, and the alien leader stands over him saying he knew it. The weak point of their kind is their soul. He grabs the Angel commander by the face. He says he was going to kill him right here, but he has changed his mind. Instead, he is going to offer him up as a trophy to his own lord. That way, he will be forgiven for letting the souls slip away. Meanwhile, back on the ground, the little girl is looking at the crater. She peeks out from behind some bushes, and then she just starts running. She sprints through the forest as fast as she can, and we see her running towards a modern-looking house. But then we cut inside and wait a minute. That is not the little girl. It is the purple-haired girl from before, and the masked blonde guy is there telling her they are in a safe house. He says it is isolated, so they should be safe for a while. She takes a cup from him and asks what happened to that drunk. He assumes she's talking about Azazel and says not to worry about him, but she looks absolutely terrified. She is worried that Azazel did not actually finish off the guy they were fighting. The masked guy just looks at her for a moment. He says Azazel should have won, because an angel is still an angel even in a human body. He tells her to just relax and rest for now, and he turns to leave the room, but he does not look too sure himself. But his words are cut off by a purple drone floating into the room. He immediately pulls the girl back, telling her to take cover. And then the door creaks open and in walks Azazel holding the busted drone. He sarcastically asks if this is their idea of a safe house. He tosses the broken machine aside and says these tin cans chased him all the way here. Because of that, he says they have to move again. The masked guy asks if he even has a plan. Azazel says his first step is to find other survivors, and then he will send all of them, including her, to the afterlife. The masked guy is completely shocked by this. He asks if Azazel is planning to kill them, but Azazel quickly tries to clarify what he meant. The masked guy realizes he's talking about Jacobus' ladder, a way for the living to enter the afterlife. He says they can hide there until things calm down, but Azazel just shuts him down. He says he heard something from the alien he fought earlier. He explains their targets are human souls, specifically the ones already in the afterlife, and with their level of technology it would be easy for them to follow. They might already be there. He asks if he really wants to drag her into that mess. But the masked guy insists that the Lord will protect them. Azazel just smirks at the mention of God. He starts mocking the idea of an almighty God, and the masked guy yells at him not to be insulting. He then accuses Azazel of only being against this because if she leaves he will not be able to drink anymore. And that seems to hit a nerve. Azazel gets furious, asking if he really thinks he is that petty. The masked guy tells him to stay out of it then. But then Azazel grabs him by the collar and says fine, he will follow his plan. The masked guy turns and thanks the girl for her understanding, but inside her head she is thinking that if she meets God there, she would really like to punch him in the face. The masked guy is still in shock, but Azazel just grins and says he likes her idea, and the girl chimes in saying she is on board with that plan too. The masked guy is just horrified by what she is saying, but then a blue light just shoots out of his mouth. Azazel asks if he is so mad his body locked up, but the masked guy just says no. He says he just sensed the presence of one of his clones. Wait, what clones? And he tells them that he has found another survivor.